Welcome to Daily Review, your daily dose of literary exploration. We dive into books that spark curiosity and ignite growth. While our passion often leads us to nonfiction reads that empower and improve your life, no book is off limits. From gripping thrillers to insightful memoirs and compelling fiction to historical accounts, we're here to share and discuss all the interesting reads we discover. Tune in for your next great book idea. Thank you so much for tuning in to Daily Review. We truly appreciate you joining us for your daily dose of literary exploration. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to share these amazing books with you. If today's review sparked your interest and you're ready to dive into a copy of the book, please consider using the link in our description to make your purchase. Not only does it make it easy for you to get your hands on the book, but it also directly supports our channel and the author, allowing us to keep bringing you more great content. Thanks again for being a part of the Daily Review community. Okay, so today we're taking a look at Mel Robbins' 007, The Let Them Theory, a life-changing tool that millions of people can't stop talking about.
Published Hay House 2024. We've got these really interesting excerpts. And our mission really is to unpack the core ideas, see what this theory might offer you, in just navigating life. The title itself, The Let Them Theory, it's pretty intriguing. What exactly does it mean to let them?
Well, the core idea, as Mel Robbins lays it out, is that a lot of our struggles, trying to change things, reach goals, feel happier, a lot of that struggle actually comes from the power we, often without realizing it, give to other people.
Okay, power we give away.
Yeah, it stems from trying to control things we can't control, especially what other people say or think or do.
Right, and she introduces this whole thing with a story, doesn't she? Something about high school prom.
Exactly. A very relatable, kind of stressful situation involving her son, Oakley, and prom night.
Prom stress. I think we can all picture that.
Totally. And it highlights that impulse, to manage everything, even down to the details like corsages and where a big group of teenagers are going to eat dinner.
Or corsage thing. What was the conflict there?
So she got a corsage for Oakley's date, but Oakley was adamant, like, she's not going to wear it, Mom.
Yeah.
But there was still that parental urge, the just-in-case urge to make her wear it or at least have it available, that desire to control the outcome.
Yeah, that wanting everything to be just so. And then the dinner plans, or lack thereof.
Right. Suddenly there's this big group of kids, prom night, and absolutely no dinner reservations. Anywhere.
Oh boy. Okay. So the initial reaction is panic. Try and fix it.
Pretty much. The author describes herself and other parents scrambling, trying to find any restaurant that could possibly take a large group last minute on prom night, which was, basically impossible.
And this is where the theory kind of clicks into place for her.
Exactly. Instead of doubling down on the stress and the impossible task, she pivots. She decides to just let them.
Let them figure it out.
Yeah. She gave Oakley some money and basically said, go to Amigos Taqueria, even though it was raining, even though it's a small casual place. Let him handle it.
So letting go of the need to orchestrate the perfect prom night.
Precisely. It was this turning point, realizing that trying to force it was actually more stressful than just letting go of control.
Okay, so the key takeaway from that story is what? Recognizing limits.
Recognizing the limits of your control, yeah. And seeing that sometimes, pushing against those limits just creates more friction and stress than accepting them. Let things unfold.
Makes sense. But let them is only part of it. Hey,
yeah.
The book makes a point that there's another crucial piece.
Absolutely. That's really important. Let them is just the first step. The second vital part is let me.
Let me. Okay. How does that fit in?
She explains this using another personal story. This time about feeling left out when some close girlfriends planned a weekend trip without inviting her.
Ooh, yeah. That sting of feeling excluded. That's a tough one. What was her first thought?
The immediate reaction was, what did I do wrong? Like assuming she was the cause, that she needed to fix something she did. It was a really common reaction, isn't it?
Totally. You instantly think it's about you. So how did let them apply there?
The let them realization was her friends are allowed to live their lives. They can plan trips. They can get together without her necessarily being involved every single time. It wasn't automatically a reflection on her.
Okay, so accepting their autonomy, letting them make their own plans.
Right. And that acceptance, that's what creates the space for the next step.
Which is let me.
Exactly. The shift to let me. She could stop focusing on their actions, which she couldn't control, and look at her own part. She recognized, okay, let me think about this. I've been really busy. Let me acknowledge I haven't actually put much effort into these friendships lately.
So taking responsibility for her own contribution or lack thereof?
Precisely. Let me becomes about taking ownership of your own feelings, your desires in this case, for connection, and then taking action you can control, like deciding, okay, let me be more proactive. Let me reach out.
So let them clears the space.
Yeah.
And let me is about deciding what you are going to do in that space.
You got it. It's about redirecting that energy inward towards your own choices and actions.
Okay, that's a powerful framework. The book also talks about using this for like stress management. How does that work?
Yeah, it positions let them as almost like a mental, an on-off switch for the automatic stress response.
An on-off switch. Interesting. How?
Well, the idea is something stressful happens, right? Your body and mind just react automatically. But if you consciously interrupt that, if you say let them when the stressor hits, it creates a pause, a bit of distance.
Okay, so you notice the stress trigger.
Yeah.
You mentally say let them. Then what?
Then you follow it immediately with let me, and maybe take a breath. That sequence, let them, pause, let me breathe, helps break that automatic stress cycle.
And the let me part in that stress moment is about focusing on your response.
Exactly. It shifts your focus from the thing you can't control, the stressor itself, to the one thing you can control, which is your reaction to it.
Can you give an example? I think the book had one about a plane.
Yeah, the coughing passenger example. You're on a plane, someone nearby is coughing constantly. It's annoying, right? Stressful, maybe. You can't make them stop coughing. So let them cough. Getting worked up won't help. But then what can you do? Let me focus on my book. Let me put on my headphones. Let me accept this minor annoyance instead of letting it ruin my flight. You choose your response.
Right. You take back control over your own experience, even if you can't control the external thing. There was a quote from Dr. Aditi mentioned, too.
Yes, Dr. Aditi apparently describes it as being like a sigh of relief for your stressed brain.
Her point is that it helps you reclaim control over those anxious thoughts, sort of shifting your nervous system out of that high alert state. It helps you detach a bit.
So let them to detach from the uncontrollable stressor. Let me to consciously choose how you engage with it or manage your reaction.
That's a great way to put it. It's about regaining that sense of agency in stressful situations.
What about bigger things like career stuff, disappointments at work? Does the theory apply there?
Definitely. The book uses an example of feeling like you're being strung along for a promotion by your boss, Boss Steve, I think they call him.
Okay, that's a frustrating situation. Easy to get angry or feel resentful, for sure. And the impulse might be to dwell on the unfairness. But the let them application is, okay, let the situation be what it is for a moment. Let the perceived unfairness exist, because you can't immediately change his decision or reasoning.
So acknowledge the reality, even if you don't like it. Don't get stuck spinning on the injustice of his actions.
Exactly. That frees you up for the let me part, which prompts a really crucial question.
Which is?
Let me ask myself, who is actually responsible for my career?
Okay. The answer is you are.
Right. So let me focus on what I can do. Let me update my resume. Let me start networking. Let me look for opportunities where my work is valued.
So it shifts you from being a victim of the situation to being the driver of your own career path again.
Precisely. Don't get bogged down in what you can't control about this one job or this one boss. Empower yourself by focusing on your own agency, your own choices moving forward.
Okay, but does let them mean you just become passive? Like you never speak up or try to change things that are wrong? The book must address that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. It's very clear that let them doesn't mean becoming a doormat or just accepting everything. There's nuance.
How does it explain that nuance?
There's a good example from a dog park. Initially, the author uses let them for minor annoyances, dogs barking, people chatting loudly, just letting it go.
Okay, standard park stuff.
But then she sees someone letting their dog do its business and just walking away, not cleaning it up.
Okay, that feels different.
Right. And in that moment, let them didn't feel appropriate. She felt compelled to say something.
So there's a line. How do you figure out where that line is?
This leads to a guideline she calls the hour, week, year rule.
Hour, week, year. Explain that.
Basically, ask yourself, is this thing going to bother me in an hour? Is it still going to be bugging me in a week? Or even in a year? If the answer is yes, if it has that kind of sticking power or significance, it might be something worth your energy, worth addressing. If not, maybe let them.
That's a practical filter. Prioritizing your energy.
Exactly. It helps you discern what truly warrants intervention versus what's just a fleeting irritation you can choose to release. Politics is mentioned as another area where let them can be helpful for, managing your own stress levels around differing opinions.
Sure, that makes sense. It's about choosing your battles, essentially, not just rolling over, but being selective.
Precisely. Thoughtful discernment, not apathy.
Another big area this seems to touch on is what other people think of us. That feels huge.
Oh, it's massive. The book talks about how we often use other people's opinions or our fear of their opinions as a kind of roadmap for our own lives.
Yeah, constantly trying to manage perceptions.
And let them here is incredibly powerful. It's about truly letting people think whatever they want to think.
Easier said than done, maybe.
Well, sure. The author is open about her own struggles with this, specifically around posting things on social media, the fear of judgment, of criticism.
That's so relatable. The pressure to craft the perfect image, the perfect caption.
Exactly. All that energy spent trying to control how people will react, trying to preempt negativity.
And the let them realization is
That you can't control it anyway. No matter how hard you try, people will interpret things their own way. They'll have their opinions. So granting them the freedom to think negatively, if they choose to, actually frees you. It frees up all that energy you were spending on trying to manage the unmanageable.
liberating you to just be yourself, do your thing.
Exactly. To pursue your goals, to live more authentically without being constantly constrained by the fear of others' thoughts.
Okay, one last area. How does let them balance with, actually caring about other people's feelings? Doesn't mean just being selfish or inconsiderate, does it?
Not at all. That's another key distinction. It's not a license to disregard others. It's about putting your own needs and well-being into the equation, yes, but doing so mindfully.
Mindfully.
It's about understanding why you're making a choice. Is it coming from a place of genuine desire, self-respect, alignment with your values? Or is it purely driven by trying to please someone else or avoid their potential negative reaction?
Can you give an example of that balance?
The book uses the scenario of deciding whether to go to a friend's birthday party. Maybe it's a long drive, you have a busy weekend. The decision shouldn't just be based on, oh, I don't want them to be mad if I don't come. It should also factor in your own capacity, your own needs. The goal is to make choices that you feel proud of, choices that align with your integrity, while still being considerate. It's not about pleasing everyone, but about acting from your own solid center.
Right. So make the choice that feels right and authentic for you, communicate it kindly perhaps,
Yeah.
and then let them feel however they feel about your decision.
That's the essence of it. You control your actions and intentions. You don't control their reaction.
Okay. So wrapping up this initial dive into the let them theory, it really seems like it's less about passive acceptance and more about strategic energy management.
I think that's a great way to frame it. It's about recognizing the boundary between what you can influence and what you can't, and then consciously deciding to focus your efforts on your side of that boundary yourself.
And the book apparently goes deeper into applying this.
Yeah, it promises to explore how this let them plus let me framework plays out in all sorts of areas, relationships, stress, definitely overcoming comparison, even finding love. It's positioned as a key to a less stressful, more empowered life.
What really stands out is that initial framing you mentioned, the idea that the problem isn't inherently you, but maybe it's the power you're unknowingly giving away. That shift feels significant.
It could be incredibly liberating, I think, for anyone who feels constantly overcome trying to manage the world and everyone in it.
So for you listening, maybe this is an invitation, a chance to reflect. Where might you be pouring energy into trying to control things or people that are just uncontrollable? Could adopting even a small piece of this let them idea free up some mental space, some emotional energy for things that truly matter to you?
This has just scratched the surface, of course. These are the initial concepts from 007, The Let Them Theory, by Mel Robbins. The book itself promises more actionable steps and deeper dives.
And if these ideas resonated, we definitely recommend checking out the full book. As always, there's a link in our description. If you'd like to purchase it, doing so supports the author and helps us keep bringing you these explorations.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. If you genuinely stop trying to control what everyone else thinks, feels, and does, what's one thing you would immediately start doing just for yourself?
Thank you again for joining us on Daily Review. We look forward to bringing you more literary explorations soon.